This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
All right, welcome into the practice squad, and we're closing in on the start of return to sports, but that doesn't even matter for this show. I actually think it's kind of funny, like, you know, working in radio right now, Stroz, every day is like, we're only this far away. And we're like, nah, like, we're not even touching on sports that we're going to be playing in 2 weeks at all today. We're only going to be talking football and Taco Bell.
That's such a practice squad show, though.
Football and Taco Bell. Coming up in about a half hour, 20 minutes or so. I guess it was like 15 minutes, middle segment. Taco Bell has been killing it lately. They have got some great stuff out, and Stroz apparently doesn't eat Taco Bell because he's too fit. So I'm going to share some awesome Taco Bell things right now. And a little bit later on, I think there's a chance that COVID could be a good thing for college football in a way. I know that sounds weird, and I kind of did this on another podcast, but we're going to have to do it here as well. But first, ESPN put out a list of ranking the NFL's best offensive weapons. Now, this didn't count your quarterback. This didn't count your offensive line. They claim on this article that they consider wide receivers a little bit more valuable because they are in the NFL. I think that's BS. I don't think that they took that into account whatsoever when doing this list. But the Lions ranked 8th worst offensive weapons in the league. Last year they were ranked 18th. This year they were ranked 20. I'm sorry. The year before that they were ranked 21st. This year they were ranked 25th.
No, you're right. 2019 they were ranked 18th. 2018 they were ranked 21st. This year they're ranked 25th.
Well, I was just thinking where to pivot here because a couple of years ago I remember telling you the Lions had maybe the best receiving core in the league, and Kenny Golladay, Golden Tate, and Marvin Jones. And obviously Golden Tate's not here anymore. But Kenny Golladay is on a different level from where he was then. I think Marvin Jones gets a lot of crap for falling back that I don't know how fair it is. I don't know if his counting stats are necessarily elite, but I know, like, he was top 5 in the league in red zone touchdowns. Like, yeah, last year he only had 779 yards, but he only played 13 games, so he missed 3. Stafford missed 8, and he had 9 touchdowns. Like, look, I'm not here to tell you the Lions wide receivers are elite, but I think they're good enough. And here's the thing. I don't think Danny Amendola is special, but I think Danny Amendola is a serviceable number 3. Like, I think the Lions at wide receiver are pretty good. At running back, the knock on Kerryon Johnson is that he can't stay healthy, but I think you're really happy with him as a number 2. I didn't like the DeAndre Swift draft pick, but the one thing you can say about running backs is if a running back hits, it doesn't take long. DeAndre Swift by many was considered the best running back in the draft. If he is good, then he will probably hit in year 1. At tight end, TJ Hawkinson still obviously left some to be desired last year. If you want to knock them at tight end, I'm okay with it. I just don't understand, like, I'm not here to tell you the Lions should be a top 10 team, but I think 25 is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Bill Barnwell's problem is here, because I think I find myself more in lockstep with you. I think they have a very good receiving core. I don't think
he's been a Marvin Jones detractor.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know what? I even think there's some issues with Kenny Golladay, but I think Kenny Golladay, like you said, out of all the guys that are in this core, I think he is the one that is special. I think he does have trouble getting a little bit of separation from guys, but I think his height and his length really bail him out a lot of the time. But I'm not sure why Marvin Jones is all of a sudden looked down upon, like he can't play football. Like you said, he was hurt 3 games last year, and he wasn't out of this world extraordinary. But again, they were doing it with 2nd and 3rd and 4th string quarterbacks. If you factor in possibly getting Matt Stafford back at 100%, no guarantees here, I think Kenny Golladay goes way forward. I think Marvin Jones takes a step forward. I think Danny Amendola, I think he'll be good. I think he's serviceable. And I think what you have at tight end, I think TJ Hawkinson looks like he could be good. I was not a fan of that draft pick. That's not the direction I wanted them to go. But he looks like he has all the makings to be a guy like Rob Gronkowski.
See, here's my issue is I'm okay with giving you the TJ Hawkinson as a negative. But if the Lions had the single worst tight end situation in the league, and while I don't think it's the worst, it probably is in the bottom 10 in terms of what you know. Even if they had the 32nd best tight end group in the league, I still don't think they'd be bottom 25. Like,
I don't either.
like, we'll go through some more teams later. I don't want to go too far. But, like, literally go one step down. The Raiders are one above them. I'm sorry, what? Kenny Golladay, Tyrell Williams. Well, that's an easy one. Marvin Jones, Henry Ruggs. I guess if you're going to give Henry Ruggs the nod, I sure as hell hope you're going to give DeAndre Swift a bunch of credit. The running back, obviously Josh Jacobs is really good, but I like our number 2 running back better. Who the hell is their number 2 running back? I guess, you know what? You know why they probably rank the Raiders where they do is Darren Waller. And I'm sorry, Darren Waller was a good player, but Darren Waller was a fantasy monster. Like, some guys I think get credit for being better than they really are because they're fantasy monsters. Like, this dude had 90 receptions at the tight end position because there was nowhere else to throw the ball, which is a knock on their offensive weapons. I could not be selling anybody more than Darren Waller this year. Maybe I'm crazy. And he was an HBO Hard Knocks guy too, right? Like, he was a Hard Knocks favorite, and then he caught a bajillion passes last year. So I think you rank him. I don't know. That one is crazy to me because the only proven wide receiver on that offense, I guess, is Tyrell Williams. We're calling Tyrell Williams a proven wide receiver. And look, Hunter Renfrow had a good year too, but like, there's nobody in that wide receiving core. Like, I think Danny Amendola put into Las Vegas has as good of a shot at being a great wide receiver as Tyrell Williams or Hunter Renfrow in year 1. Not to say Hunter Renfrow can't be good, but unlike running back, where you see a bunch of guys step in year 1 and be elite, it's not very common at wide receiver.
No, it usually isn't. And look, how Bill Barnwell came up with this, I still struggle, and I'm still perplexed by his reasonings and how he got to 25 for this team. I'm not a huge Kerryon Johnson fan. Kerryon Johnson struggles to stay healthy, but I like the dynamic duo of having a Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift. I think that makes this offensive unit that much better. And I know you weren't a fan of the DeAndre Swift pick, but I sure as hell was. I really liked that pick. I thought you got a steal by picking him up in the second round. Like you said, he was arguably the best running back in this draft. They end up getting him in the second round. He helps complement Kerryon Johnson. Actually, I think the way it's going to end up working out after training camp, Kerryon Johnson's going to be his complement. But put all that to the side. You can't tell me that the Detroit Lions are working with an offensive unit that is any worse than a team like the Bengals. AJ Green is getting older.
Which, by the way, is literally the next team in front of them.
Yeah.
I think the very first 2 teams in front of them are definitively in worse shape.
Exactly. I mean, you got a rookie quarterback. Look, Joe Burrow looks special, right? He looks special.
Well, they're not counting quarterbacks. Keep that in mind.
No, I get it. He looks special, but again, you've got an aging wide receiver in AJ Green who has struggled to stay healthy. John Ross, what is John Ross at this point in his career? John Ross has been...
Including John Ross on a list of your weapons is disingenuous.
Yeah.
Put Javid Vest on the Lions list of weapons. Like, I'm sorry. There's no way you can count. He's never been healthy, and when he has, he's had like 3 good games.
How this list came to be, I don't get it. I definitely don't think this team is the 8th worst offensive unit in the league. If anything, I think this offensive unit is probably more towards the middle. And you and I both hammer the Lions. I hammer the Lions probably a little bit more than you do. And I think this is totally disingenuous. And I think Bill Barnwell is out of his mind for placing them at 25.
I really think more than anything it comes down to Marvin Jones. And I said it. I think you were a Marvin Jones detractor going into the year. And I think what happened is Marvin Jones came into Detroit in his first year and he was a freak. He averaged 18 yards of reception in year 1, which is the best in the league. And I think that sometimes we, and when I say we, I don't mean me and you, I don't even mean Lions fans. I mean sports fans. I think sometimes when we're trying to judge players, we have such a contrast, like what Marvin Jones was in year 1 and what he was in year 2, that we call year 2 a fluke. But what he did in year 1 wasn't all that different from what he was in Cincinnati. Or actually, I'm sorry, year 2 was 18 yards per reception. It was 17 yards per reception in year 1. Like, when you look at what Marvin Jones has done throughout his career, 2016, 2017, and 2019 were far more of what you should be expecting than the one bad year. He had a bad year in 2018, but he only played 9 games, And Stafford wasn't as good in 18, remember that. I honestly, I'm not used to having underappreciated receivers in Detroit, if I'm being honest. I think Kenny Galladay is probably appropriately appreciated. I think, obviously Calvin's recognized as all-time greats. I think the guys who played next to him, I think Golden Tate Golden Tate was underrated when he came to Detroit. But by the time he was gone, I think he was, viewed appropriately. I don't think we view Marvin Jones as what he is. Like, Marvin Jones, if he's your number one wide receiver, you're probably a little bit disappointed, but I don't think I think he's a top 32 wide receiver in the NFL. Now, he's towards that bottom part where if he's your number one, he's one of the worst number ones in the league, but he is a very good number two. Especially, this is where I might have some disconnect from people listening, is I'm big on the way football is moving towards analytics, and we know the deep ball wide receivers are the ones that make a difference, and Marvin Jones is that guy. And he is turning 30, so he's starting to get up there a little bit in age, but when you're contrasting to AJ Green, who's 32 and didn't play last year, I'm not as worried about him. One other team that makes me question if I'm reading this properly. How in the world are the Patriots ranked at 20?
I seen that and I damn near lost my mind. I was like, how in the hell? Names.
I'm sorry. I'm talking a lot in this segment. I've got a lot to say today. I want to read you some of these names because he gave a blurb on every team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, he talks about Julian Edelman and Mohamed Sanu. But in paragraph 2, he talks about Devin Asiasi, Dalton Keene, Matt LaCosse, Ryan Izzo, Sony Michel, Chase Edmonds. Oh, Chase Edmonds is not there. He's comparing Michel to Chase Edmonds and Kalen Ballage. But Asiasi, Keene, LaCosse, Izzo, and Sony Michel. What?
And if you read the article, if N'Keal Harry takes a step forward, if there is some improvement with Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene,
if Julian Edelman is able to stop walking with a cane.
Right. If he somehow finds some regeneration juice, easy for me to say.
He's still a good player, but the dude is old, and he is by far the best. He's by far the best part. And N'Keal Harry take a step forward. The man had 12 receptions. He could triple his receptions, and it wouldn't make a difference. Now he didn't play, but this is blind speculation on N'Keal Harry. Here's my problem. I think Marvin Jones is being undervalued, but I also think that there was a tendency to rate rookies really well, but for some reason that wasn't done with DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, and again, he states that he puts a premium on wide receivers and he doesn't value the running back as high. But again, DeAndre Swift, one of the things that he brings to the table is he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So I'm not sure how this rating was actually done. This seems like Bill Barnwell's just not dialed in. I mean, he does a lot of these different lists, and he normally does a pretty solid job. Usually he'll put something out there that really makes you scratch your head, and this is one of those things that he puts out there that really has you saying, dude, what are you watching? What games are you, how are you putting this together? Because to me, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I think this team is probably closer to middle of the pack than they are the bottom quarter of the league. I could see this team possibly being ranked somewhere right around 14 to 19. I think would probably be more of a justified ranking for this team. 25 just does them zero justice.
All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, I think that conference-only football could be a really great thing for college football. And if you have anything to say as far as where do you think the Lions' weapons, offensive weapons, running back, wide receiver, tight end, should be ranked in the NFL, I'd put them towards the middle of the pack. I went a little crazy, but the truth is I think 25 is absurd. If you wanted to say 15 to 20, I'd probably listen. But 25 is just it. There's too many teams ahead of them that I take major issue with. At Brendan Riley _ at Adam R. Stroz if you want to get involved in that conversation. Stroz, I eat too much fast food. It's just like a thing I do. Always will do. And it took a lot for me to not go and get this today. I knew we were talking about it. I wanted it, but I did a good job. I came home and ate leftover pasta I had. But
so how was that pasta first off?
Well,
was it tasty enough, or were you kicking yourself in the butt after eating it? You're like, I really should have got that.
That's part of why I was able to come home is because I had. You familiar with Maggiano's?
Yes.
I'd never had it before. I wasn't 100% sure whether it was local or a chain. I just kept driving by it. So I ended up having that yesterday, and it was really good. But I'm looking at the picture of the grilled cheese burrito from Taco Bell right now, and I'm kind of wishing I had it. So if you know me, you know there's few things I respect more than Taco Bell creations. I love the creativity in the food they make. And actually, I think these aren't the most creative. These are pretty simple, but very, very good. And there's a few new items. And this whole segment is going to sound like a Taco Bell advertisement. It's not. I would be happy for it to be. I don't know if there's a single place that would make more sense for me to endorse than Taco Bell, but this is just me talking about food I enjoy because I wanted to talk about food today. All right. You should pull up the menu before we do this, Stroz.
I'm actually in the middle of doing it right now.
Okay. So the grilled cheese burrito is the number one thing right now that I'm dying for. And it's really just all it is a regular ass burrito with cheese grilled on top. So it's beef, rice, sour cream, I don't know if they're Fritos or if they're nacho chips. They like to mix in both. I'm looking at the picture. Red strips is what they call them. Nacho cheese sauce and a 3-cheese blend. So, I didn't even notice this. And it has their Chipotle sauce, which if you're a Taco Bell fan, you know what? No, I'm not 100% sure what else it's on. But dude, it's a good burrito already. I'm a cheese guy. You add an extra layer of cheese on top. It's so good.
So I'm looking at the picture right now, and I'm not planning to have Taco Bell for dinner tonight. But after looking at this picture, I think I might want Taco Bell. This does look amazing. Looks absolutely amazing.
And
it's got the seasoned ground beef, the Mexican rice, the nacho cheese, and like you said, the red strips, which are basically tortilla shells. And then there is nothing but grilled cheese over the top of it. I mean, if you love a burrito, I think you're going to be a fan of this. This looks so good. It really does.
Well, and so I've had this probably already 3 or 4 times. I didn't know how much, cause their 3-cheese blend is on a lot of things. I didn't know how much the grilling aspect would make it better. Now, it can be a little bit messy cause it's literally just grilled onto the top of your, burrito. I'll tell you one thing it does. It means your burrito's damn hot because they make it, right? And then they throw it in the grill and it's already warm before you throw it in the grill. This is so weird cause I literally feel like we're doing a Taco Bell commercial. I just wanted to talk about these awesome items they have right now. Like full disclosure, not a great day, and I texted Stroz and was literally like, I just want to talk about food today. Have you had some of the more unique Taco Bell creations over the years?
So in my past, I have had a gordita, and I thought that was pretty good.
Gordita?
Yes.
How about a cheesy gordita crunch? Oh, no. Stroz. I don't know the next time I'm going to be back.
Are we meeting at Taco Bell?
We might have to get Taco Bell together.
I used to love Taco Bell when I was a kid, and then, I don't know, I grew up and I just stopped eating Taco Bell.
I grew up.
Remember how last week we were talking about you being the more mature one? I think my taste buds are a little bit more mature.
You think Taco Bell, hold on. This might be the question. Do you think Taco Bell is an immature food?
No, I just think
Taco Bell for little kids?
I don't think it's for little kids. I think it's for college kids.
Okay, we're gonna make that a poll. We're gonna have to post that and see what kind of a reaction we get because I don't know that I agree with that. College is
everybody's gonna call me an idiot. It's okay.
College is where the addiction to Taco Bell starts, but it stays with you till the end of life.
Till the end of life.
On my deathbed, I'm gonna want a Taco Bell, whatever their latest creation is. Real quickly,
my favorite thing at Taco Bell was the Nacho Bel Grande. I love the Nacho Bel Grande.
Okay, you're gonna like the third item we have to talk about on this segment. Before we get into item number 2 that I'm in love with, the best thing they've ever done, and I try to find any excuse I ever can to talk about this, was the quesalupa.
What is this?
So you said you had a gordita, right?
Yes.
Now, this is not how actual Mexican food works. I don't know how Mexican food actually works, but I promise you this isn't it. At
Taco all basically the same thing. It's just how they package it and serve it to you. It's either in chips or it's in a shell or it's in a flour wrap. But all Mexican food's basically the same thing.
At Taco Bell, the chalupa is basically the same thing as the gordita you had, except it's deep fried.
Oh.
Well, the quesalupa is that same deep fried shell except with cheese in it before it's deep fried.
So they somehow inject cheese into this thing?
Yes. And then they deep fry it. And then they put all the taco toppings in it. You ever had a quesadilla burger?
Yes.
It's kind of like that for a taco, except a way more doughy bread.
So I do like chimichangas at like Mexican restaurants, and that's basically like a deep fried shell with delicious meat in the middle of it.
Yeah,
Is it
like
similar to that?
Similar, but closer to a taco than a burrito.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So if you're a Taco Bell connoisseur like myself, you probably recognize the double-decker taco, which is just a soft shell with beans in the middle and then a hard shell and then a taco. Well, right now, I'm not a huge beans guy. I don't mind them. I'll eat plenty of things with them in them, but it just, that alone doesn't make it for me. Well, for right now, they have $1 Nacho Crunch double tacos. It's a soft shell with cheese holding the hard shell, and then it's just your standard taco. So basically, though, Stroz, you're only paying $1 and you're getting the soft shell and the hard shell held together by nacho cheese.
I think I'm gonna have to go to Taco Bell, bro. Like you're selling me a Taco Bell tonight.
Are you looking at this picture right now?
Yes. I'm going through their menu. I'm going through everything on their menu right now, trying to figure out what I'm eating for dinner tonight.
Do you notice a trend?
I think you've got me excited.
I love.
Yes, everything has cheese. Lots of cheese.
Now, I'm not 100% sure they still have their final item. Let me take a quick look on this, but they had been doing it for a while, and this has actually kind of killed me. So you know how Taco Bell does the $5 boxes, or are you too mature for that?
No, I know how they do yes, I do know how they do the $5 boxes.
So they've been doing this $10 cravings box is what they call it. And if you like their Nacho Bel Grande, they had been doing nacho boxes, $5. You get a box of nachos and a drink. But with these, it's just had way more food. Like, I like the Nacho Bel Grande too, but I've always felt like the toppings are limited. Like, here's what I would say. If you go to a sports bar and you get nachos, any sports bar in the world, they're always great, right? And they're always loaded, like they're super stuffed with everything. That's not what you're getting when you go to Taco Bell and get a Nacho Bel Grande. But that is what you're going when you get their, the Nacho Cravings pack. Now, currently, Stroz, if you want to take a lovely lady out for a nice, romantic dinner, they have a Nachos Cravings pack for two.
For two?
It's two of these boxes of nachos topped with, cheese, sour cream, guacamole, tomatoes, and I think that's it. But much more topping than you're used to with the Bel Grande. You get two boxes of those and two drinks for $10.
I mean, not only am I saving money, I'm eating like a king, right? Look, man, I love a good Nacho Bel Grande. When I would go to Taco Bell, I would normally get whatever the Nacho Bel Grande combo meal was. I'd get that, and then I'd get 3 soft taco supremes because those were my favorite. But I'm also old enough to remember when you could get a taco from Taco Bell for 10 cents because I'm 100. And then like, it was like 10 cents for a regular taco. For a soft taco, it was 20 cents. And then if you wanted a supreme, it was like 35 cents.
I almost don't believe you.
Yeah. When I was a kid, back in the 80s. Cause I'm that old, bro.
I'm honestly debating
I'll be
whether
honest with you. When I was looking, oh yeah, for sure. I'm not lying to you about it. When I was looking at the soft taco supreme, how much it was, I was surprised that it's $1.79. I was like, damn, when I was a kid, they were so much cheaper.
See, and the crazy thing is, so it's $1.79 for the taco supreme, right? Or you get the nacho double taco for $1.
Yeah.
What I've been doing lately when I go, and that's how often I go that I can say lately, is the grilled cheese burrito with 2 nacho tacos, and it costs $5. And I'm in heaven until my stomach hates myself for eating all of that.
So wait here, I have to know how you eat your tacos though. So do you put any of the mild or the hot sauce or the fire sauce on them?
So you want a throwback here? When I used to work there back in high school, they had the salsa verde, which was the green ones.
Yep.
And then I don't remember the other ones. It was it was almost like a Mexican barbecue sauce type taste. And I really loved those two. I don't really care for the sauces. I'll use a mild, but to be honest with you, they don't do a whole lot for me. And I don't really use anything above mild.
See, I love the fire sauce. I use the fire on everything. We'll have like fire sauce packets laying around at work, and I'll go through the mystery drawer of just random odds and ends. Like we have IHOP syrup in there. We've got some Smucker jelly packets. We've got a bajillion different mild and fire sauces from Taco Bell, or there'll be like some stuff from Del Taco. I'll grab those Taco Bell fire sauces and I'll put it on everything.
So fire roasted was the other old one. I was trying to find it because I think you can still find the verde salsa like at like Walmart or Meijer or something like that, but I've not seen the fire roasted in forever. And it's probably because I was the only one who wanted a barbecue style sauce on my taco.
What's the closest you have to not real taco sauce? Barbecue flavor? Sign me up.
It's not actually barbecued. It just has that like smoky flavor. So it's think of like a traditional taco sauce, but traditional, with like a smoky taste to it.
Okay.
So that's kind of what it was. And I thought it was really good. But that's it. That's the topic. I don't really know what to put out. What do we put out to social media for people who want to interact with that?
I don't know. We can ask, what's your favorite taco from Taco Bell? I don't know.
Do you like the regular taco or do you like it with sour cream?
I'm going with sour cream all day.
By the way, I'm gonna wrap this one way, and you probably saw my tweet, and this is from another podcast, but it got a lot of run. Is it tortilla bread?
Oh, I did see that, and I don't think tortilla is bread.
Okay, so coming up now because I don't respect Stroz anymore. The Big Ten and the Pac-12 have both moved to conference-only football this season. I suspect that's the route the SEC will eventually have to move. And I think, before it's all over, I think every conference is going to try and do a conference-only season. And first of all, I think it's a brilliant decision because it allows you to play less games in a longer period of time, play only the important games, and it kind of allows some flexibility should you have outbreaks among the team. Like, that's my one concern with both the MLB and the NBA. Is can they respond if they have outbreaks? Because it is going to be really hard to have no outbreaks. But, Stroz, I think this is going to make college football so much better if this succeeds. Like, I understand that we're going to miss out on the occasional, like, Oregon was supposed to play Ohio State this year. That's not going to happen. But there are going to be so many unnecessary games that I don't have to watch anymore. And I think that is so much better. Like, I don't want to watch Division II schools against Alabama in week 13 or week 11. I'm so thrilled that I don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think that is probably the thing that makes this so much more worth it. Because the one thing that I've been begging for is for them to go to something similar to a conference-only schedule where you really limit who you play out of conference. Like, you maybe have 1 or 2 games. I would love that. You have to play 10 games from your own conference. It creates more crossover, creates more rivalries within your own conference. So I think this could be a saving grace, like you said. This could be really, really interesting. Now, the one issue I have with it is, are we going to go with only 8 games, or are we going to go to 12 games, or are we going to go to 10 games? And I think you're right. You have to build in some weeks off just in case a team gets hit by the coronavirus.
So I actually think the best way I would probably try and go about this, I think I would want at least at bare minimum 4 weeks off in your period. That's like an arbitrary number. Mm-hmm. So if you said less or more, I'm not going to fight you. 4 feels like the minimum number to me, because if you need to like reschedule a game, not only do you need to be available, but so does the other team. So you kind of have to have a couple chances. 4 might even be low, to be honest with you. Shoot, I'd be okay if we played one college football game every other week. And I understand that that's not ideal, but I want college football to happen, and it seems like that would really buy you a chance to react to delays. That part's not a positive. The positive is, like, I don't want to watch a bunch of these bad football games, and there's still going to be some. Like, obviously, Michigan is still going to have to play some bad football teams in the Big Ten.
Have to play Rutgers.
But in college football as we know it, you're going to play at least 2 cupcakes before the regular season, before the conference season. You're going to play at least 3 or 4 cupcakes in the conference season, and I'm watching half your games be cupcakes. Now, and I want to say this, watching Michigan play Rutgers, for example, does not bother me as much as watching Michigan play our Sisters of the Poor. Because at least that Rutgers game has meaning. like, let's be real here, Stroz. This might upset some people, but we know Michigan's not playing for a national championship game, right?
Right. You're not going to make me upset, and you're not going to get me to play that because
it sucks, but it's the truth.
Like, I know where this team's at, and you have no idea who your quarterback is, and you've got no idea what Jim Harbaugh is doing. So
playing some nobody in your out of conference literally is meaningless. Hell, playing a good team's meaningless. It's just fun. You're basically playing exhibition games. At least Rutgers matters for conference standings. At least if Michigan craps the bed against Rutgers, it means something. And I understand what's going to really happen is by halftime I'm not going to care because they're up by 40. But I'm limiting the number of those games, and I'm limiting to them to only the ones that matter.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that will come out of this that'll be super beneficial if you are a college football fan. My issue is I don't want to see them play one game every other week. And I'm not sure, I like your idea of having 4 weeks off where you can kind of try to adjust things on the fly if you have to, or if you have to reschedule. And somebody out there who is way smarter than me is going to have to figure this out. But I don't know if you can go much more than that. I don't think you can. So if we go by that logic, if we go by having 4 weeks, maybe we push it out to 6 weeks, you're only probably playing an 8-week season. Because to try to keep everything lined up so it all kind of ends right around the same time, I think you're only going to play maybe 8 games, and I myself would prefer to see more football games. I want more, right? I want to see 10 or 12 conference games, and you probably aren't going to get that. And that's my big issue with all of this. Also, I think so I'm not a huge Notre Dame fan, right? But I do enjoy watching Michigan beat the living snot out of them. All right.
You weren't going to get to do it this year anyways, right?
I mean, maybe. I mean, they beat them last year, so.
Did they play them? Were they supposed to play them this year?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm sorry. Is it after this year they're off the schedule?
I don't know. It's a weird schedule. I'd have to.
Well, they were supposed to be off the schedule again soon, but I thought it was this year, but I could be wrong. But either way, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I was looking forward to them playing Notre Dame. Now I have no idea what Notre Dame's going to do in all of this, right? So if everybody goes to this conference schedule, it kind of leaves Notre Dame out in the cold unless they join the ACC, which is where they play basketball, or unless they actually put 2 and 2 together and join the Big Ten. I don't think it's going to ever happen. I think we can both agree on that.
No, they're not going to join the Big Ten. They could maybe join the ACC, but they're not going to join the Big Ten.
But all that being said, you miss some of those outer conference rivalry games that you're just not going to get. And that makes me a little bit sad.
College football is just so broken because, like, I don't even disagree. There are out of conference rivalry games. But they meet, like, I would love, this sounds like tough, but I would love to see this lead to a great, like a dramatic change in the way college football is set up fundamentally. Like, I don't want rivalries in games that actually mean very, very little. I don't want rivalries in games that determine what meaningless bowl game you're going to play. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm not saying that's always what it is for Michigan and Notre Dame, because the truth is, even though we don't think they're going to compete for a national title, under Harbaugh, they've been close enough that late in the season, we're still thinking playoff at times. So, like, it's not that it means nothing for Michigan and Notre Dame, but there are rivalries that don't mean anything. And there's a lot of them. There's a ton of out-of-conference rivalries in college football. I want to see a system where, like, I don't want there to be 130 or whatever the number is Division I schools. And I don't want to see these programs shut down per se, but like, if they have to go to Division II and only play local schools, is that actually bad for college football?
How do you feel about having mega conferences? Like you would basically have like this you'd have this Midwest to like Northeast division, you'd have this Southeast division, you'd have this Southwest division, then you'd have this Northwest division. And basically you'd have like 4 quadrants, basically cut the U.S. into quarters, and you would have roughly 16 to maybe 20 teams in each conference, and you'd break it up into divisions. You could probably separate maybe I'm making it overcomplicated, but you could separate each conference into either 2 divisions or 4 divisions. Then you'd have to play your own division, then you'd have some crossover games every year, and then you'd go to a playoff in your division to go play in the in the college football playoff. I don't
claim to have the answer for how to do college football. All I know is a system where the champion is subjective is not a system I approve of. And so if you want to find a way to make these smaller schools that are never going to win anyways a part of the process, and that's part of what you're doing with 20 team conferences. If it takes the subjectivity out of college football, I'm down. It's still not necessarily the way I like the idea of super conferences, but I wouldn't make them way bigger. I would just throw everybody else out the window. Like if you have 5 super conferences and it's 12 teams, now I only have to consider, 60 schools. And look, there's not 60 schools competing for a national title. In the next 25 years, Stroz, how many teams will have a championship window, a national championship window in the next 25 years? I'm giving a huge window here.
I would say maybe 4 teams probably.
4? No. In 25 years?
Over the next 25 years? If you look at the way Alabama has just been turning out talent and usually is in the mix, Clemson's also a very good team. You're right, maybe not 4. Probably closer to, I'd say maybe 7. 7 teams maybe in the next 25 years. Because I could see somebody else bubble up.
I was thinking closer to 10. 25 years is a long window.
It's a long window, yes.
Is Nick Saban still going to be running stuff 25 years?
I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think that Ohio State would keep it running. I didn't think, and they didn't seem to skip a step. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Day came in and they just picked up right where Urban Meyer left off. And I thought for sure there'd be a little bit of a hiccup, and there was none. So I don't know. I could see Nick Saban putting somebody in position to kind of pick things up and run for him.
So we're saying 10. Let's triple that, 30. And I'm proposing a system that doubles that in terms of amount. You know what I mean? Like, why do we need, if we're saying 7 teams, 10 teams that are going to be contenders in 25 years, why the hell do we need 130 of them? Why do the teams like, Alabama every single year are playing teams that wouldn't crack that list if we literally gave every single student steroids? I just don't understand why college football is the way it is. I don't like the way it is. And I hate that kids may lose opportunities to play Division I football. But from an entertainment standpoint, I think college football could be improved from seeing less teams and seeing less games against small programs.
I'm not going to argue you on it. I think it is the way it's set up. It's completely flawed. You have way too many teams, and the majority of those teams don't have a legitimate shot. And then you end up getting these cupcakes that just get slaughtered by these big schools. I think Michigan was going to play like Utah State this year. And like Utah State's pissed off because they're not going to get like $108 million because the Big Ten's doing away with non-conference games. So like you're paying schools to come in and just be a whipping boy for you. Like you don't need that. I don't need to see that. You don't need to see that. Nobody wants to watch that. Those aren't good games. It's not interesting. I want more competitive. I want more competitive balance in college football.
And I think if we get a college football season with some of the changes that we're seeing, it could look that way. I do. I think that conference-only football, I think we might get a taste for it and say, kind of like this a little bit better. I don't know that and in a normal year, you can play more games if you have, right now, what is the most conference games any conference plays? 10?
Conference, yes, 10. Yeah,
9?
10, yes.
9 or 10?
I think it's 10.
We could expand that to 12 in the future if you eliminate some of these out of conference games. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying that I'm not disappointed to see the Big Ten and the Pac-12 go to conference only, and I won't be disappointed when other conferences follow suit, as I think they ultimately will.
Yeah,
I don't got anything else.
I don't think it's going to be too far long before you end up seeing every other big conference kind of switch gears and go towards a conference-only setup. And I think what you're going to see built into that conference-only setup, you're going to see either longer bye weeks or you're going to see multiple bye weeks like we were talking about. So in case somebody does get COVID-19 or in case a team just gets hit by it extremely hard, you can take a week off and then you can try to reschedule that game so nobody's missing out on a game. So I think what's going to end up happening is that's going to be more the norm, at least going forward for this season. And I think hopefully coming out of it, we end up with more conference football and we tend to do away with some of these meaningless Division II schools or these meaningless Sisters of the Poor games where it's like it's a team that plays in the Sun Belt. Nobody needs to see a team that plays in the Sun Belt. Get the hell out of here. Nobody wants to watch that. So I think this could have some good ramifications for college football going forward.
So do you feel like an asshole saying that? Because I do.
No, I don't.
That's the difference between me.
No.
We can both be an asshole, but I'm the only one who's going to feel that way.
Look. Okay, I went to 2 universities so their football teams were either non-existent or not very good. When I went to Oakland, we didn't have a football team.
What was the other school?
Wayne State.
Okay.
And Wayne State played in the GLAC or the GLAC or whatever the hell it is. And there's like a Division II school. And like the best thing that came out of it was Joy Bell. And you guys can find out what we think about Joy Bell on her the practice squad presents the throwback every single Sunday right around 1 o'clock it drops. So check that out. And we talk a lot about Joy Bell.
We do.
But, I mean, what the hell are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? Like, those schools suck, and I get it. And I'm not afraid to say that, hey, Wayne State's football team blows, and Oakland's got a club football team now.
I'm not even trying
to be in the conversation with a school like Michigan or Alabama.
I'm not even trying to disrespect those schools. Like, there are people who really enjoy Division II football. I just don't want to say Wayne State play Michigan. Like, that's all it is. I'm not saying you shouldn't play football. I'm just saying you shouldn't play football against teams in the national conversation. And I
Wayne
think,
State, go play Delaware. It'll be okay.
This is a take that I had years ago. This is nothing new. It just seems like it could be an unintended positive consequence, and I feel like an asshole for saying it, of COVID. If you got nothing else, that's going to do it for me. Interact with anything we've talked about here at Brennan Riley _ at Adam R. Stroz. I am going to post a poll. It'll probably be close to done by the time you hear this, but feel free to comment. I don't exactly know the wording, but is Taco Bell children's food, basically?
Tag me in this, please.
I will.